American chocolate chip cookie.
Oh, is there a difference?
Yes.
What?
We don't have cookies like this in Europe. Are you kidding me?
What is it, like a shortbread biscuit with some chocolate in it?
Yes, it is, Ami. Smart ass. It is a shortbread cookie with chocolate in it. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Need to Know. I'm your host Gemma Stafford, cookbook author and the creator of Bigger Bolder Baking. And as always, I'm joined by the lovely Ami Shukla, who is the chocolate chunk in my gooey cookie. I like that one.
I do.
I made it relevant.
Yeah.
I made it relevant because as you can see here, we are all about the chocolate chip cookie today.
It smells amazing in here.
Ami and I consider ourselves connoisseurs.
Yeah, cookie connoisseurs, 100%.
Cookies, what's a sommelier if you were about cookies?
Cookamalie.
We know a lot about cookies, and we thought that we should highlight one of America's most favorite treats, and just the different ways you can the different ways you can make them. So we're going to come back to those in a few minutes.
Oh,
yeah. Hold on.
Okay.
We're going to talk about some other stuff before we get stuck into that. So before we get stuck into the cookies, we're going to go straight into hot from the oven. Mm-hmm. Now, this is something that I really caught my eye, but I haven't tried. So the viral mango-shaped popsicle. That is called, correct me if I'm wrong, Propitious mango ice cream.
Oh, yes. Oh, so I've tried this.
Have you?
Yes, I've tried this, and it is really...
Where did you try it?
Well, it's funny. We were at dinner with some friends, and one of our friends came with a bag of these Propitious mangoes. And she was like, I got this wonderful thing for us to try. And they were all in these boxes. And it was like this, it looked like a mango on a stick.
Yeah.
Like a little mango. And I don't know how long she had been in the car, but they weren't melted, which I thought was curious, but they were still cold and frozen. And so it was like this very thin, maybe white chocolate or some very, very thin coating. And then inside was just like very light ice cream, almost like a frozen mousse or something. Yum. And it tasted like mangoes. It tasted like a sweet mango ice cream. It was really lovely. After we had dinner, we hung out for a little bit. There were still two that were uneaten and not melted. And then I brought it home to my daughter, who enjoyed it thoroughly. So it's kind of cool. They travel well.
That's all. They look, so we're going to share photos of them and videos. I think they originated in China. There's whole fridges dedicated to these treats. They look gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like you said, a thin coating of white chocolate, but then they're sprayed just like a mango. They look so beautiful. Yeah. I love mango ice cream. I think it's kind of tropical and a little bit creamy.
Yeah. Well, mangoes were... they're from India originally.
Yeah.
They were first grown in India like 5,000 years ago. And having parents from India, I can tell you, growing up, they were obsessed with mangoes. I mean, still to this day, like through the summer, they'll get cases of mangoes. And then after dinner, they'll just like peel one mango after another. And they're like, oh my God, try this mango. And I just, I like mangoes. I love mangoes. But I like lots of fruit. And, it's just controversy in my family for me to say, well, have you ever had a peach in the farmer's market in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
They're like, no. And I have to tell you, there is this absolutely hilarious clip. There's this comedian. His name is Hari Kondabolu. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He is so funny, Indian American. And he has this clip. You can find it on. It's from his Netflix special about how much Indians love mangoes. And I have to say, I saw him live. I saw him do this live, and I was screaming with laughter. It was like, oh, somebody finally gets it. It is so funny. You have to go check it out. But then there's also like all of these interesting, so there's that Propitious mango. There's all sorts of things you can make with mangoes. But then weren't you telling me about this like mango trade?
So here's something I found online that I have never heard of before, and I love this idea. South Florida residents actually use mangoes to barter.
Oh, really?
For goods and services like they did many, many years ago, but only mangoes.
I love this.
So enjoying the mango harvest, some businesses in Miami will barter mangoes. It's a summer tradition. At Zach the Baker, you can get a loaf of bread for 6 mangoes.
Wow.
So Zach the baker will give you, and he does say like not to be bruised, no animal bites out of them. Or sorry, not to be like broken or animal bites, but bruised is okay. And
can you imagine living somewhere where you have so many mangoes that you have enough to barter with? It's not just like the few that you have that you got from the store.
There's another place in Florida called Peel. It's a soft serve ice cream shop, and if you bring in 5 pounds of mangoes, you get a free soft serve with a choice of topping. Isn't that awesome?
I love
this. Just think about it. You might have, like, if somebody said to you in LA, you can come down to Whole Foods and get a loaf of bread if you bring us in 5 lemons.
Yes.
We all have lemon trees.
Right. Absolutely.
Not all great, but we have them.
Right.
I could bring in lemons.
Yeah. That's a fantastic idea. I feel like more places should do trades like that.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
Yeah. I love it. So Gemma.
Yes.
I have some good news.
Yay.
It is National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
Lovely.
And I think we need to get right in the mix.
We're going to educate and entertain and drop some serious cookie knowledge.
Okay, fine. I guess we'll talk first. Or we could eat them. Okay, so tell me, Gemma, when did you first have your first chocolate chip cookie? Do you remember?
Well, that's a American chocolate chip cookie.
Oh, is there a difference?
Yes.
What?
We don't have cookies like this in Europe. Are you kidding me?
What is it, like a shortbread biscuit with some chocolate in it?
Yes, it is, Ami. Smart ass. It is a shortbread cookie with chocolate in it.
That's not a shortbread. That's not a chocolate chip cookie.
It's a dry biscuit with chocolate on it. It's nothing. And anybody in Europe will agree with me. We did not grow up with cookies like this one here. Gooey center, crispy outside, melty pools of chocolate. No, ours were from the Depression. They were sad and dry, and they still are. But check out these bad boys. Look at this.
Wow, that one looks really good.
Yeah, I'll tell you about this. We grew up with nothing like this. So when did I have my first chocolate chip cookie? I will tell you when I had my. It's hard for me to remember. I lived in Tahoe when I first moved here, and I would have had my first chocolate chip cookie then. More than likely, it was pre-frozen out of a box.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember being amazed that they were gooey on the inside and crispy on the outside.
Yeah.
That was just, it blew my mind that it wasn't hard and dry. And then when I moved to San Francisco, I worked in a restaurant called Spruce, which is a Michelin star restaurant. And one of my jobs was to make the cookies. And the cookies were 6-ounce cookies. They were huge. And they were so gooey. They were made with all Valrhona chocolate. They were really expensive and they were insane. So those were like, I think, my introduction to really good cookies.
Yeah. That Valrhona chocolate makes a difference, I have to say.
Yeah.
So, okay, so like, let's talk a little bit about like what goes into like a really good cookie. There's like so many different elements, and there's millions of recipes online. You could really go down the cookie hole here. I mean, and make, you go through the first 4 pages of Google and make every single cookie, and they're all going to be slightly different, and everyone's going to say it's the very best cookie, and every one of these recipes is going to have like 5,000 people saying this is the best cookie they've ever had. So, I think it really comes down to like, what do you personally like? What is your idea of the best cookie? And a lot of that is really affected by the ingredients, and cookies, the batches are small. The batches are actually like for a sturdy something like a cookie, they're very sensitive. You make one little change and it totally changes the cookie.
Yes. You say ingredients, I'm going to say technique and method.
Okay.
Okay.
I would say probably one of the main ingredients in cookies is flour. A lot of cookie recipes use all-purpose flour, which is great. It usually, all-purpose flour has about 11% protein. Good basic all-purpose flour for most things. Then you see a lot of people who want to promote like a chewiness, and they want like a more chewy cookie. They'll use bread flour either in part or as 100% replacement for the all-purpose flour. Bread flour has maybe like a 13-14% protein, a little bit higher of a protein content. And then there's some other. I don't really ever see this 100%, but sometimes people will put some cake flour in their cookies, which has a lot less protein. And that's going to give you a sort of a tender, crumbly cookie. Yeah. I have tried to make a chocolate chip cookie with all cake flour, and it is not good. I have also made a cookie with 100%
I'm
bread flour, and
guessing-
it's delicious.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's good.
I'm guessing the cake flour, 100% cake flour is not giving you the good structure.
No, it kind of fell apart as you picked at it, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and all of that stuff. But it really is kind of wildly different. I tend to always go for just straight up all-purpose flour, which is right down the middle.
Yeah.
And I find it to be really good.
Oh, it's always a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
When I used to work at Spruce, we used to do our cookies with what they called for you know, when you buy kind of on scale, from restaurant depots, a peak performer, which is like a bread flour. And we did ours with that. And I never understood why. And then, so this is my contribution that I wanted everybody to know about. The New York Times.
Oh, the
Jacques Torres chocolate chip cookie. In this cookie, now we'll talk about the ingredients and then separately afterwards when we talk about method. Cake flour and bread flour.
Right.
Chewier and soft.
Right.
So you're getting those two textures.
But you know what? I'm confused by the cake flour plus bread flour.
I am a little bit too.
Because the thing is, like, if you do the math and you say, like, there's, you know, cake flour, are you eating that? do not eat that. You told me I couldn't eat it. What are you doing?
I was just showing it for Joey.
Oh, okay, fine.
That sounds like what George would say.
You put it really close to your mouth, and I thought you were eating it.
I don't get it either. I don't.
Fine.
But
we eat them at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But well, if you do the math, and here's what I don't understand, and I feel like it maybe is different. But if cake flour is 8% and bread flour is like 14%,
why don't you just use all-purpose?
No, well, yeah, that's like 22% divided by 2. On average, it's 11%, which is all-purpose flour.
I don't
understand.
I think Jacques is just getting fancy, but
maybe it's different.
But it does make a damn good cookie.
It does.
We're going to come back when we're going to do our taste testing. So one thing about the New York Times famous, this is like one of their top recipes on the app. We can't share the recipe because it is, if you have the New York Times app, then you have access to it. An amazing cookie.
Yeah, it's really good. And the last thing I want to mention about flour, sometimes you see in bakeries now popping up rye chocolate chip cookies, which is also really nice. You don't need to do 100% rye flour. You replace a little bit of your whatever flour you use with a little bit of rye flour. It absorbs a little bit more liquid, so sometimes you get a little bit of a thicker cookie, or maybe you add in an extra egg white if you want a little more spread. But it adds a lovely sort of bitterness to a chocolate chip cookie.
Like a nuttiness.
A nuttiness to it, and that can really counteract a lot of the sweetness, which leads me to my next ingredient, which is sugar. For someone who doesn't like a whole lot of sweet, like chocolate chip cookies, to really get the kind of shape that you want, you really need to have almost as much sugar, if not more sugar, than flour. And you, obviously there's brown sugar, light and dark. We always go dark brown sugar. You taught me that.
Because it serves two purposes.
Yeah.
Well, because you get the sweetness, yes, but the brown sugar has more moisture.
Yes.
So it gives you that gooier center.
Right. Also has acid in it.
It has acid in it.
Right.
Yes, so which reacts with
our leavening,
which
we'll get to. But like for like the purposes of brown sugar, it adds a butterscotchy flavor. It adds moisture. It helps the cookie spread. White sugar helps the cookies. It will also help the cookie spread. It caramelizes more than brown sugar, and it gives the cookies a crispy edge. So if you want a purely chewy cookie, you might want to go primarily or all brown sugar. If you want you're going for crispy cookie, you might want to go all white sugar.
Yeah.
Now, this is not always like, there's a lot of other factors that go into cookies. So this is not always 100% rule. These are just ideas. But really, those are the properties of white sugar and brown sugar.
Okay.
But then the other thing, we'll talk about leavening.
Yeah.
So many chocolate chip cookies have only baking soda, which I highly recommend. But some recipes ask for baking soda and baking powder. Baking soda needs an acid to react. And you get that acid with the molasses in the brown sugar. So what baking soda will react to any cookie with brown sugar. It'll help the cookie puff up, rise a little bit. The other thing that baking soda will do, it will help with the Maillard reaction, which allows a cookie to brown.
Yes.
So
And it also helps with the development of the crinkles.
With the crinkles, yeah.
Yes.
So one thing that I've learned with baking soda is if you like a cookie that has a gooey center,
Yes.
you want to add a little more baking soda.
Yeah, agreed.
Because you'll have like a browning on the outside and you've got that spread and that caramelization, but it will take a lot longer to cook to set the center. So you will just almost guaranteed have a gooey center. If you don't like an overly gooey center, you might want to pull back a little bit on that baking soda. So if your recipe calls for 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, you want it to be a little gooier, add a 1/4 teaspoon more. If you want it to be a little less gooey, take out a 1/4 teaspoon. Or 1/8 of a teaspoon. Baking soda is very sensitive, but it's something you can futz with if you want to feel like you want to play around. Baking powder,
I'd say no baking powder if you like the gooey center.
Yes.
It's generally for those that American gooey cookie, crispy on the outside, gooey in the middle, you will not see baking powder.
Yes, baking powder.
We do have cookies on that. We have a chewy, it's a chewy cakey. We have a cakey chocolate chip cookie because we're talking about preference. Like, what's your preference?
Right.
My preference is gooey. But if you're the cakey kind, then baking powder is what you want in your cookie.
Right. That'll give you like a lifted, soft cookie, so that is a quality. So there are some cookies that have a balance between baking powder and baking soda, and somehow with all the other ingredients actually turn out pretty balanced.
Yeah.
So, again, not everything that I'm saying here, these are qualities to understand about ingredients, but there's nuances because of all of the other things. The last other thing I really want to mention about cookies is the fat, which is butter. Oftentimes, most of the time, and butter can be browned so that you get this like really lovely nutty taste to your butter. It can be you can have a softened butter that you aerate with the sugar, which will give your cookies lift. You can melt the butter, which will give you a denser cookie, which is a totally different kind of dense, chewy cookie. It's very thin, if that's what you want. You can replace some of the butter with olive oil, which I know you do.
Which is what I do here in my cookies. And this is like when I learned that you could, I do love cookies. I always kind of went for when I saw a cookie with a melted butter, I was like, this is my jam. And then I was looking at this whole pile of different recipes and I was like, wow, you can put olive oil into a cookie base in a melted butter cookie and sub it for some olive oil. And to me, I think it is genius because you've got instant flavor, you've got moisture, and you have a lovely nuttiness and a saltiness that you get from the olive oil. Now I have nice olive oil, but I don't use anything too strong. You know your olive oils.
You don't want too much of an assertive olive oil.
Yeah, you don't. But you want it to add flavor. And then so it adds instant flavor. And then as you age these cookie doughs, which I'll talk about in a minute, the flavor develops and deepens and deepens.
Right.
So like I am all about adding in olive oil. Now I would not, some people ask me, can you substitute it for vegetable oil, canola oil? I say hard no. Olive oil.
Always has to be olive oil. Well, I can't wait to try those. And you just mentioned one little thing, salt. You must have salt, a well-salted dough.
Yeah.
That is, I feel like as essential as anything else. You cannot be salt on top. It doesn't, if you like salt on top of your cookie, that's fine. You do you.
I don't like salt on top.
I don't like salt on top of my cookie, but I like a very well-salted dough.
Yeah. Oh, I know you
do.
do.
It makes a big difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference. And salt and chocolate are best friends.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
So you talked about the oil. Let me just talk about chocolate. I have a TikTok video that I released probably 2 years ago or so where I proclaimed, do not use chocolate chips in your cookies, use chocolate bar. And I got crucified for it because I took a stance. And apparently on internet, you're not supposed to do that. I use chocolate chips for very few recipes. I make my homemade chip ahoy. I use chocolate chips because it's kind of iconic. Here, I have the traditional Toll House cookie recipe. I use Toll House chocolate chips in here. For my cookies, I use chocolate bar.
Right.
And here's the thing, with chocolate bar, you have more control. You have more control over quality. And you have a purer bar and you can pick your grade.
Right.
With the chocolate chips, the grade can kind of vary. Bittersweet, dark chocolate chips. What does dark chocolate chip mean? And they don't go up. You can't get like a 85% cocoa solid chocolate chip, but you can get an 85, 90, 100% bar.
Sure.
So what I do with chocolate, I'm going to ask you now what you did with yours. For my olive oil cookies, I do, because of the sweetness of the dough, I do chocolate. For often a bigger bowl of baking, we use bittersweet chocolate consistently. I do around 85%, a Lindt bar, 85% cocoa solids.
Yeah.
It's the perfect bitter complement to the sweet dough.
Yeah.
For the New York Times, they do, because it's the New York Times, they asked you to buy like 2 pounds of Valrhona. And that wasn't happening on our budget. So I got big bars of chocolate bars, and I chopped them up.
What
and
was
that
the
worked really well.
percentage of chocolate on that?
It was huge. It was like
No, but like how much cocoa? Well, was it
bittersweet?
Yeah, it was bittersweet chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, actually, do you know what? It was 60%. Yeah, it was. They asked for dark chocolate, 60%.
Oh,
I used bittersweet.
60. It maybe still is bittersweet.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Maybe it starts 60 to 72.
Yeah.
These are the Toll House ones. And then Ami, what kind of chocolate do you use?
So I am a huge fan of semi-sweet or just like 50, no more than 55% chocolate, because I think it is overpowering. And
You're talking about ratio of
so I want like a lower end dark chocolate, or I want like a nicer semi-sweet. So Valrhona does like a 55%, Calabout does like sort of a 54, 53%. That percentage for me is perfect, because it doesn't, what I really want to taste I want to taste the cookie. I want to taste the butterscotch. I want to taste the salt. I want to taste all of those elements of the cookie, and I want the chocolate to just sort of highlight that. And I don't want if I find the percentage too high, all I taste is the chocolate, and I'm not tasting the cookie. So for me, it is really about finding that balance.
So you're less chocolate in your...
Less chocolate. So like I also use, I only use a cup of chocolate in my chocolate, in my batch of cookies, because I don't want to overpower. I will use this. I think I ended up using like a 55%, which is a little bit on the high side for me. It was just what I had in the house. But I would almost, if I had a milk chocolate and I had a bittersweet, I would definitely go milk chocolate over bittersweet. That's how strongly I feel about like how,
I feel like I don't even know you.
I just, I've thought a lot about this.
Okay, Ami, so we talked about ingredients. Now I want to get into technique, because I think I know it is equally as important. So I'm going to talk about aging doughs. I never make a cookie dough, chocolate chip, whatever it is, the same day, and then I bake it the same day. I will plan to age it minimum 1 to 3 days.
Right.
Often you'll read it is suggested in recipes. For me, honestly, it's mandatory. Like, make any of my cookies and age them in the fridge. They say 72 hours. The New York Times, in the recipe, it says make your dough age for 72 hours in the fridge. And all it means is cover it up, keep it in the fridge for 72 hours. Then you can use it or you can freeze it. They don't recommend keeping it over 72 hours because of the eggs. I've done it for days.
Right.
In a place I worked in San Francisco, we would make sheets and sheets and sheets of cookies. And the longer that they hang around, and they're stored, the flavor develops. The liquid starts to evaporate out of the dough. So you're getting a more concentrated flavor in your cookie. It improves texture, flavor, and also gives you these insane kind of crinkles also on top. So aging is as important as everything else, in my opinion.
Right. And side note, they have to be aged in the fridge. You cannot make a batch of cookies and age them in the freezer. They don't age because the liquid crystallizes and it doesn't actually hydrate the dough and do what it's supposed to do. Oh, you're eating. Okay, fine.
Well, I told you to eat when I was talking, and you just sat there looking at me.
I was listening to you. Okay, I'm going to try the New York Times.
72 hour New York Times.
Classic.
Okay. Peak strong flour and cake flour. 72 hours in the fridge.
See, I want to get some more centerpiece.
Until it's a little bit doughy. Do you know what? I could have...
This is good. I just wanted to try the middle part.
Let me tell you also, just while we're talking, this is a really simple tip. You think it's kind of obvious, but I never do it because I'm kind of lazy. Take stuff out of the oven, shove it on the side, on the counter, and then you walk off. When it comes to cookies, especially the gooey cookies, give them a minute on the tray, take them off the tray. They will continue to cook on the tray. I know it seems kind of minimal, But you think about it, you took them out of the oven and now they're sitting on a hot tray for the next 5-10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Get them off the tray. They're going to stop cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a good one?
Yeah, that's really good.
It's obvious, but it makes sense.
But it's also like you can feel that the cake flour, and I mentioned earlier, like, oh, I don't know, but there's like a kind of a crumbliness, like kind of a pleasing crumbliness to it.
Now, don't they have good flavor, Ami?
They have really good flavor. And again, like the bittersweet chocolate is I mean, the cookie itself is flavorful enough that I think it's good.
I
Ooh,
one of mine. I just broke it
Okay.
open there for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm going to try one of yours.
Uh-huh.
So I love yours. This is a perfectly baked cookie, Ami, nice and doughy.
Ooh, thank you.
Nice and I think mine might have gone a little bit over. So
Mm-mm.
talking about timing and baking, for best results for chocolate chip cookies, I always recommend 375 degrees Fahrenheit
Mm-hmm.
for, 12-ish minutes or so.
Right.
But you often see recipes for these kinds of like lovely big crinkly chocolate chip cookies.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get that gooey in the middle, you're talking higher oven for shorter amount of time.
I've tried 325. They spread too much. 375. They don't quite cook like those.
Also, can you tell me what brand of chocolate that is?
That is partly Trader Joe's and partly some Lithuanian off-brand because that's what I found at the grocery store I was in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ami.
But
Some random
normally I will 100% always use Calabat or Valrhona. I just
chocolate. Oh
ran
yeah,
out.
apart from this random Lithuanian chocolate you're feeding me.
It was a 52% chocolate, and so I thought it was going to be fine. But these cookies also have tahini in them in place of some of the butter.
I was wondering what that flavor was.
Yeah. So they have like there's a lot going on in these cookies. Let me see how these turned out.
These are chewy. These are chewier than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Why are yours so chewy? Because of the sugar?
Well, there's brown sugar, white sugar. There's only baking soda. There's tahini. I call these my tahini plus cookies because there's tahini plus there's some miso paste plus there's some toasted milk powder. They're fancy, but I mean they're not bad.
They're not bad. I feel like we had a plan about the cookies and then you bring in miso tahini cookies.
Oh, what
Trying
was
to
the
show off my
plan?
cookies.
No, what was the plan? What was the plan?
I didn't know yours were going to be so fancy.
Olive oil and cookies is really fancy.
It is fancy.
Come on.
So coverage temperature. These are the Toll House recipe. You can find this online anywhere. The traditional Toll House cookie.
That story I think is true. Do you know the story about Ruth Wakefield and the Toll House cookies?
Mm-hmm.
This was like a happy accident where she made these butterscotch cookies and wanted to have this chocolate swirl cookie. I thought this was just a cookie myth, like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's true.
My last tip about baking cookies. So we talked about the temperature. As equally as important, there's no point, it drives me crazy when I see recipes. Scoop your dough, bake it for this amount of time. Exactly. Don't bake it anymore. You didn't tell me what size of dough ball to scoop.
Mm-hmm. What's your size?
What's the point? Is it a football?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a pea? No, like you rig it. It's so important because the timing of the baking does not matter at all if you don't tell me what size.
Mm-hmm.
So we always do you and I often do a heaped tablespoon, which is normally translates as 2 tablespoons. You'll often see a quarter of a cup.
Mm-hmm.
It matters to get the exact size and then also compare it to the yield. Like it said scoop 2 tablespoons and then maybe the recipe says you get 14 cookies and you got like 17 or something. So just check on that. But also a tip when baking cookies, when I was young, now this was all the rage, but people do not do this anymore, especially when you want a big thick cookie like this. Put the ball on the tray, don't flatten it, leave it where it is, let it slowly bake down and do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
No flattening cookies on trays,
Right.
Unless your recipe specifies. For a chocolate chip cookie, you'd never see that.
Right. And the thing about size too, if you make like a smaller cookie, you're going to have a cookie that's more evenly baked all the way through. If you really want a cookie that has like a softer center and a crispier edge, you're going to do a bigger ball, like 3 tablespoons or 4 tablespoons, like a quarter cup to like slightly less. I always do a 3 tablespoon scoop because I think it's my favorite texture with like a little bit of a softer center, but still cooked through. Like I don't like an underbaked center, but like I want it to be softer. And then the outer edge being a little bit crispy. And that will also help the center collapse a little bit.
Yeah. And on that note, actually, room temperature, like if you take a dough from the fridge, put it on a tray and then bake it the way the recipe says, you're going to end up with an undercooked cookie, which can be nice. Sometimes Ami doesn't like it. Work with room temperature dough because that's what the recipe is calling for, room temperature dough. Don't take it from the freezer. Don't take it. Let it sit out at room temperature, then bake them because that's when you're going to get the close results to what the recipe says.
Right. Though that being said, like you can bake a frozen ball of cookie dough straight from frozen into the freezer.
You can. And
right into the oven. And it's not.
But the temperature is different.
The temperature is different. The results are different, but you can do it.
Well,
so if you're like, oh, I need a cookie right now and I don't have half an hour to defrost my dough, you can just cook it.
You can cook it. It's going to be thick. There's going to be doughy in the middle. Could be absolutely delicious, but it's just going to be, and it's going to take a different time to bake.
Right.
What's your favorite?
Oh, gosh, I like yours. I love yours and I love mine.
I will say
are my
I
favorites.
overbaked those.
But they're delicious.
I think yours are very delicious. New York Times. I think New York Times are for the win. I didn't care for these ones.
They're okay.
Can I tell you something about the New York Times that I don't do in my cookie? Sea salt.
Oh,
Or sea salt. No, not on top. In the dough.
In the dough.
Uh-huh.
I use kosher salt always.
Yeah.
Oh, I just find it to be like really like, it's just easy. If you use it across the board, you always know how much you need. But you can also like, it's kind of fun if you're into experimenting and you've got a cookie that you like, but you want to make it a little bit different. Like if you have a cookie that you wish spread a little bit more, try to increase the sugar by a tablespoon or two.
Yeah.
If you want a cookie that you wish browned a little bit more, you can adjust the leavening. There's just different things that you can do and play around with. It's kind of fun. And, I find because I've baked so many batches of chocolate chip cookies, just trying to achieve different techniques, different flavors, different qualities, nobody minds the experiments.
No,
you just like you try something, maybe you try a cookie or two, scoop it up, put it in your freezer, and the next time you need cookies for something, you always have a batch in the freezer. It's
always
great.
It's my secret weapon.
Yeah,
you and I are agreed on that, Ami.
Oh.
Lovely cookies. Thank you very much. I really did like your cookie.
Oh, well,
your
thank
fancy
you.
cookie.
I wasn't trying to be fancy. I was just trying
You were
to achieve a
you were trying
flavor.
to show me. You were trying to up one me.
No, I was not.
You didn't even tell me about secret ingredients until the very end.
The tahini? Well, because we blew through the whole fat section. Yes, you can also use tahini in part.
Definitely check out those recipes. We can put them in the show notes. If you have New York Times app, the recipe is worth getting. Thank you very much, Ami.
Thank you, Gemma.
That was lovely. I'm always talking about chocolate chip cookies,
I know.
so that was fun.
Can we do a chocolate chip cookie again
Let's
next
do a
week?
salad one next week or something, Ami, because this is killing me.
No, this is so awesome.
Thank you so much, everybody who watched on YouTube, who listened wherever you listen to podcasts. Please do not forget to subscribe. And we will be back here again, same time, same place next week. Thank you. Take care. From HRN and the Bold Baking Network, you are watching the Need to Know Baking Entertainment podcast.